industry. So we know we've got the opportunity to have a product that can't be duplicated. And all of our products, by design, are to affect not just the blood system, not just the brain, not just the immune system, but they were designed to impact the entire body. And when we say the whole body, we're talking at the level of biochemistry, where inside of each cell, tens of thousands of biochemical equations are going on instantaneously. And every cell in the body is communicating with the other several trillion cells simultaneously. And that's beyond understanding. Thank you, God, because man has not got the capability of understanding that. But in the plant kingdom, there are many, many chemical structures that regulate that whole process. And so affecting the whole body is critically important. And that's why when you see the testimonies around the world, they're in every body system. Every function of the body are potentially impacted by these products. And one of the things that we say from a business standpoint, you don't want next year 10 companies in Malaysia saying, oh, we've got products we've knocked off eXfuze products and we've got something just like they do. Because I will assure you, I've talked to our scientists and I've put them on camera in front of a global audience of physicians, and I've asked them the question, what would it take to duplicate our technology? First in money and then in time. And the answer goes anywhere from 10 to $100 million in money, and anywhere from 5 to 15 years in time to catch up to where we are today. And we constantly improve our products, so if they start 5 years from now and $50 million later, they're going to be where we are maybe today. And we will already be another decade down the road, okay? And that's important. And I know there's been a lot of question about juice products, and they're good products, but concentrated juice products, as good as they are, do not have the concentration capability that botanical extracts do. It's just not possible. So those are good products, but I am a clinician, and I have people that rely on me for my decisions for their health. And so I don't want a good product. I don't want the best product. I want an elite caliber product. And so that's what we have tried to create for eXfuze. So capturing those plant properties. First of all, what are they? We know how to capture them, but a lot of people don't understand what we're trying to capture. So three years ago, I first came to Malaysia, and I said, you know, around the world, people have asked me, Dr. Joe, how do eXfuze products work? And some of you may remember, my answer has been the same answer that I've given for the last 40 years. Because it's not going to change. It'll be the same answer 30 years from now. Our products provide raw materials to the body so the body can heal itself. All healing is self-healing. Doctors do not heal. Drugs do not heal. The body has to be put in a position with raw materials so it can heal itself. That's its God-given genetic endowment. That's our gift. And without that gift, we do not have the ability to be well. So what are these plant properties? Scientific studies have demonstrated many biological properties of different plant species. When I say what do our products do? They provide raw materials to the body so the body can heal itself. I usually say to an academic crowd, and it does that through defense, repair, regulation, regeneration, and maintenance of health. And that's my story today, and I'm sticking with it. Because what we now know scientifically, that the body and these plant properties defend the body because the plant biochemistry was developed in the plant because of stress on the plant. And some of that stress is ultraviolet radiation. Some of it is an animal coming by and chewing on the plant. And the plant changes its chemistry to try to create a chemical that causes that animal not to eat it. And what we've discovered is that if man eats that plant, those chemicals get into man and defends the man or the woman the same way. And that, again, is our gift in nature. So it does that defense through the body's natural antioxidant system. And that is not a simple system. It's called the redox system of the body. And it's an unbelievably complex situation. Our product contributes some antioxidants, but our product is not an antioxidant product. As good an antioxidant as it is, what it does is puts chemicals into the body that turns on genes, switches them on, that protects the body. And that now is beginning to be understood in how that's happening, and there's no drug made by the pharmaceutical world after trillions of dollars in research that can do that. And these plant compounds can contribute to that. They're also antiviral, antimicrobial, antifungal, anti-everything, because that's what plants are capable of doing. And if we ingest those molecules from the plant, they do that in us also. So defense is a critical issue. I carry in my bag with me, because I'm on planes a lot. And there's sick people on planes, and when you're on a plane, that stuff is circulating around. And so I've got a botanical spray that I spray in my mouth, and it kills viruses on contact. It kills moles and fungus on contact. And I just do this. And it's not 7+, but it's stuff like cinnamon and clove and some very natural things. But when they're extracted right, they have unbelievable power, as does our product. So when people have seasonal flus and things, or getting a sore throat, I say, take our product, but maybe gargle with it instead of just swallowing it. Let it contact the oral cavity, because that's where some of these things first invade the body. So defense is a critically important phenomenon. The next area, repair. When the tissue is damaged of the body either repairs it or the tissue dies permanently. And so repairing the body at the level of the biochemistry is very important, but a thing we're starting to learn is the bioelectrical system. The electrical signal sent down the nerve and in the cell membrane is now known to be regulated by these plant properties. And so when we see people that have abnormalities in the bioelectrical system of the brain or in the heart, we're seeing opportunities for health and healing at that level. So the body is able to repair itself. Another area of amazing research is regulation. And when the body regulates and the cell regulates itself, it has the opportunity to stay well. And inside the cell, inside the nucleus of the cell, there's a molecule called DNA. And that DNA determines everything about your existence. And so what we found now is that these plant properties regulate not only the protection of the DNA, but it regulates the switching on of genes on and off. And so one of the things that we've seen, people that have genetic disorders, impossible to change. We've seen some of those patients that had genetic abnormalities change symptomatically, and after a year or so, the gene switched on normally again, and we've seen people with Down syndrome, a missing chromosome, actually change back towards normal. And that's beyond science. We don't know how that happened, but that's the endowment in some of these properties. And we know certainly it can regulate the hormone levels of the body. And that's a critical issue, because when the body's under stress, the first thing that happens is the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the adrenal glands get out of balance. And that's the hormonal dysregulation that can be controlled by these incredible plant properties. Another area, regeneration of tissue. When the body's damaged and it's got to repair, and the tissue now is damaged to the point where repair mechanisms have changed, it now needs to regenerate new tissue. And I saw this in my clinical practice over and over again, especially in the area of professional sports. My job as a consultant to the professional sports teams was, when the medical profession fails and the athlete can't play, give Dr. Joe a call and see if he can do his crazy, whatever he does stuff to get this athlete back on the field. Okay? And a lot of those athletes are multi-million-dollar contract players, and they need them on the field to play, and they've got a rotator cuff, and they'll never play again. And lots of those people are playing professional sports after they've been diagnosed with an irreparable injury because of these plant properties, the ability to regenerate tissue of all types. And that's critically important. One of the areas that we're really seeing some amazing research in is the regeneration of brain tissue. And brain tissue, once damaged, I was taught in medical education, it's irreparable, or it's going to repair at the speed that is incredibly slow. For instance, eye tissue, the turnover time is 8 years for eye tissue to turn over, whereas the inside of the cheek of your mouth turns over in about 8 days. So every tissue of the body has a different tissue turnover time, the brain being the slowest and thought by medicine impossible to change. But now we've discovered about 15 years ago, a cell in the body resides in our bone marrow called an adult stem cell. How many people have ever heard of that? Yeah? Well, what they're finding out is that these botanicals cause that adult stem cell that's stuck inside the bone marrow, and he's asleep and won't do anything for the person, to kind of wake up. They become kind of active, and they get a signal that says there's damaged tissue somewhere in the body. That cell leaves the bone marrow, goes to that tissue, and becomes that tissue. And today, they're using botanicals to stimulate adult stem cells to leave the bone marrow in bone marrow transplantation. And they're regrowing limbs, eyes, hearts, pancreas in type 1 diabetics that don't have beta cells that produce insulin anymore. They've regrown those in people. And this is the whole new field called regenerative medicine. And I was able to consult with one of the research institutions in Florida where they use blueberry, raspberry, and chamomile to cause those adult stem cells to really get active. And we said, that's a great strategy, but if you'll use brown seaweed and a little sea buckthorn, let us know how it does. And it's a factor of 10 times more effective. And so we know that our product has got the ability to help regeneration function of the body, and we now have the scientific evidence to know it's happening through the adult stem cell situation. I'm reading a book. Before I came here, one of my mentors said, Dr. Joe, are you aware of the work that's going on with adult stem cells? And I said, of course, yes. But I didn't know a book had been published on it. So he gave me the title of a book called The Healing Cell. And it's all about adult stem cell, the unbelievable things that are going on in research, how we're going to be able to cure the incurable. And one of the things that's important is that these plant biological properties are one of the few strategies known to cause regeneration to occur in the body. Matter of fact, one of our distributors in Southern California went to a doctor's office and said, we've got a product, would you try it? This happened to be a doctor that does bone marrow transplant for stem cell therapy. And that doctor was very skeptical until one of the eXfuze distributors went to his office, age 82, and wanted to get some stem cell work done as an anti-aging strategy. And so the doctor did his biopsy, punch biopsy on the hip for the bone marrow extraction, and the doctor told me, Dr. Joe, I prepared for a 4-hour procedure because when people are old, their bone marrow is very thick and it's very hard to extract. And he said, I stuck the needle in the man's hip. I've got 4 assistants, and it's going to take 4 hours. And he said, that bone marrow squirted out of that man like he was a teenager. Wow. Because he'd been on 7+ Classic for a year and a half before that needle ever was stuck in him. Today, that doctor puts his patients for 30 days on an eXfuze product before he does that punch biopsy. So we know these products have incredible opportunities for all types of health and healing. Another area is maintenance of health. In medicine, it's called homeostasis. Once you get all those things working together, and this is the world I try to live in, is maintenance. I don't want to try to treat any disease in my body. And by the grace of God, I don't have any. And I'm 67 years old. I have had no medical care, except I eat a lot of botanicals. And I try to have a good lifestyle. So maintenance of health is about getting your body healthy and then maintaining it that way, because we have the genetic potential to live a long, young life for a long time. And my goal is to do that for a long time and then die quickly. I have no interest in going to a hospital or a nursing home and becoming an invalid. I'd a lot rather die in a plane crash, okay? Because it's quick and, it's over with. And I know the devastating effects of disability and these diseases because I've worked with them for 30 years. So maintenance of health is critically important. So when we capture those plant properties, we get defense and repair and regulation and regeneration and maintenance. Those are the inherent characteristics that are brought forth when you do a product right, like we've done with eXfuze. So another area that's critically important is once you've made a product, whether it's 7+ Classic or our performance product or our premium focused product that we started and made for in Japan, making sure that it's done right is critically important. So the first thing we do, by law in all countries, the product is manufactured, it is then quarantined, and it's measured for contamination. Because in the United States, we have a system called good manufacturing processes, current good manufacturing processes, 2009 standards, and they are more strict than the pharmaceutical regulations in America. In our facility, we now have a FDA used-to-be employee that inspected that facility, works in that facility to make sure that those manufacturing processes are taking place. So we know these products are going to be, first of all, safe. And most all companies now have to do that. But what's most important is, do they work? And are they going to be functional in the body? So about 8 years ago, at Cornell University up in New York, some scientists said, we've got to find out a way to test products in the human system. Testing it in a laboratory condition doesn't tell us anything